This is how I would look with a mustache. Hello, so I am going to be talking to you guys today about the most intimidating books on my bookshelf. So, intimidating books. I think we all have them, and they can be intimidating for any number of reasons. They can be books that are intimidating because they're huge, or because you have had them on your shelves forever and have not looked at them. They could be intimidating because of the content. Maybe it's material that you're uncomfortable with reading. It could be a whole lot of reasons. And I just have a handful of books. I don't have a massive amount of books that I find super intimidating, but I'm going to go through all the different books that whenever I walk past them on my shelf, I feel guilty for not having read them. The first book on my list is Lisey's Story. I think it's Lisey. I don't think it's Licey, but I don't really know. It's by Stephen King, which is funny because I love Stephen King. He's my favorite author. For some reason, this book, I've never picked it up. I feel bad for not picking it up. And there's other books on my shelves of his that I've not read that I don't feel this way about. I think it starts because my mom let me borrow this book years ago, and I kept telling her I would read it, and I just never, ever, ever, ever did. I never started it, and now it just sits on my bookshelves, making me feel really guilty because I just haven't picked it up. Next book is Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell. I saw the movie, love the movie. I bought this book maybe 6 months ago, and I could not get past the first chapter, section, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if it's just, I think it's because just the way it was written. I've heard that this book is amazing and super, super worth it once you finally get through it, but I could not break through the first little section, which is like 30 pages. I could not do it. So every time I look at this book, I feel so guilty for having bought it full price and thinking I would love it, and I just could not break through the first little section. I will give it another try because I've heard that it is completely worth it, but until then, this book makes me feel so intimidated. So the next book is Her Fearful Symmetry by Audrey Niffenegger. Now, this book is probably giving you, it's probably so shiny, so I'm sorry, I'm gonna try to angle it, I don't know. This author is the author who wrote one of my favorite books, which is The Time Traveler's Wife, and I went and bought this when I found out that she had another book, but for just no reason at all. I have never read it. I've had this book for, oh my god, 7 or 8 years. I've just had it forever, and I just have not ever picked it up. And I don't have a reason why, but once again, I see this book on my shelves and I just feel really bad. And I want to read it. Like, if I didn't want to read these books, I would have gotten rid of them by now. But I keep them because I want to read them. So similar to the last book, and just as shiny, I'm So Sorry for Your Eyes, is The Passage by Justin Cronin. And I bought this book probably right around the same time as I bought Her Fearful Symmetry, 7 or 8 years ago. It has a massive endorsement on the back by Stephen King, and I think it's like post-apocalyptic zombies, and it's very, very big. And I think I got through a tiny little bit of the first part of it, but I just never broke through it, and I want to read it, I just have not. And I feel bad. I don't know why I feel bad. These books are not sentient. They don't have feelings, but I just feel like that they feel unloved. This next one is intimidating because of its size more than anything else. It's not because I've had it for so many years. It's just because it's so big, and I want to read it. And it is it's Van Gogh, The Life, and it is a biography about Van Gogh, who I love. And look at this great cover. After you take off that parchment papery cover, you have his self-portrait, and then on the inside is his sketch of his apartment, which is also a famous painting of his. And it's got these really cool deckled edges, and it's so big, and I haven't gotten myself to read it. I feel like what I should do is make a plan for this and maybe dedicate 6 months to reading this. Like, not reading it straight through like a novel, just sort of, reading, a chapter a week and slowly getting myself through it, or maybe a chapter every other week. And just slowly getting myself through, because I would love to read this. Tim bought this for me for Christmas a couple years ago, maybe 1 or 2 years ago, and I just not reached for it because it's really intimidating. But I would love, look how beautiful this cover is. Like, could I be? And this is easily the most intimidating book on my shelf, and I've mentioned it before. It is House of Leaves by Mark Danielewski. Let's go with that. And I have definitely talked about it before. It is it's a story about a creepy house, and it's kind of a big book, but it's not the biggest. But what makes it so challenging is the formatting of how it's written. There are pages like this. There are pages where there's like a word per page. There are pages like this, where you have to navigate what you're supposed to read. There are pages where the words are completely mirrored. You have to use a mirror to read the page. What is this? What's this? It's 2. Oh, and this entire passages where the words are struck through. I've heard it's great. I've heard it's a whole experience, but it's heavy and hefty and scary to put myself through. But this is easily, when I get through this book, I will have the greatest sense of accomplishment when I finally read it. If you have read this book, please let me know what your experience is. I need encouragement. I need someone to tell me that everything will be okay. So here you have it. Here are the books that intimidate me on my bookshelves, and I will feel amazing, like a big weight has lifted off of me when I finally get through them. Hoping that 2017 is the year of the intimidating books. Alright. Ooh, I'm gonna put this thing down. It's really heavy. Let me know below what your intimidating books are, what books you pass on your shelves every day and you feel bad for not having read them. I'm just really curious. I think it's cool to I think it really gives you a good insight as to the kind of reader you are based on what kind of books you want to read, but for some reason you can't get to. I just think that's kind of cool. Anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling on and on. I will see you guys later. Bye!